Senator Opeyemi Bamidele from Ekiti Central has been named Majority Leader for the 10th Assembly. Meanwhile, Senator Simon Nwankwo from Plateau North assumes the position of Minority Leader, edging out former Governor of Sokoto and a former Speaker of the House, Aminu Tambuwal. However, as Senate correspondent Omo Bazwaye reports, the appointments have created some controversy.
The leadership of the 10th Senate assumed its full complement with the announcement of principal officers as lawmakers returned to plenary on Tuesday after a short Salah break. Speculations have been widespread that the position of Senate leader will be between two illustrious candidates of the All Progressive Congress APC, Senator Opeyemi Bamidele from Ekiti Central and Senator Ali Ndume from Benue South.
APC, the All Progressive Congress, caucus of the Senate, after due consultations, have emerged with their leadership, which will be the fulcrum of commencing other businesses in the chambers.
With a plenary on Tuesday, President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, announced the man from Ekiti, Opeyemi, as the majority leader, ahead of Ndume, who served as his campaign director for Senate presidency. Opeyemi is believed to be a strong political ally of President Bola Tinubu. Former Governor of Ebonyi State, Dave Umahi, a first-time senator, takes the position of Deputy Majority Leader, leaving Ndume with the position of Majority Chief Whip. The position of Deputy Majority Whip went to Senator Lola Ashiru from Kwara State. The Senate President also announced the principal officers for the Minority Caucus with the surprise naming of Senator Simon Davo, himself a first-time senator from Plateau North, as Minority Leader, ahead of former Governor of Sokoto State, who is perceived in many quarters to be in the pole position to have taken the seat. Davo came from the House of Representatives, and that makes him ranking enough for the position. His deputy will be Senator Oyewumi Olalore from the People's Democratic Party in Osun West.
The minority principal offices were, however, shared among three of the opposition political parties.
But not without grumbling from some senators who felt left out in the equation.
You didn't know that they were signing signatures, we were taking signatures?
I never knew. Nobody called me. Nobody sent me even an SMS.
No, I'm not okay because we have 8 senators represented in the Senate, in the 10th Senate. The other party that got it has only 2. PDP had 2. PDP had 2 with over 30 senators.
The position of Senate Minority Chief Whip was taken by Labour Party Darlington Nwokocha from Abia State, while the new Nigerian People's Party Senator Rufai Hanga from Kano State is the Deputy Minority Whip.
It's not everybody who will become a leader or join the leadership of the Senate. If you look at it, 4-4-8, only 8 people were elected to the leadership now, plus the Senate President and the Deputy Senate President.
But the list read by Akpabio did not come from the political parties. They came from the party caucuses, whether minority or majority.
With respect to APC, let me put it this way. Everything is in order. And let me assure you again, what was read today was a consensus list.
With the appointment of the principal officers now completed, the 10th Senate can now begin to drive its legislative agenda. Omo Bazwaye, Arise News.
Thank you, Omo. Rufai, a number of things to chat about here this morning.
So a couple of things. After all of this back and forth, the Senate and the House of Rep finally have their principal officers. And like you see there, the list was read out by the Senate President. What I see is happening in the APC is a rancor. It's a struggle for power. The chairman of the party feels disgruntled, and he says, oh, this is all a rumor. But it's not a rumor. The Senate president read out the list, and it was based on consensus. Some have made the argument that, oh, can they read out the list without getting the say-so of the party and all of that? We have to reiterate as we speak that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is the leader of the APC today. The chairman of the party cannot hold sway against Bola Ahmed Tinubu's decisions. If this is a decision reached with the Akpabio Tinubu camp, Adamu cannot overturn it, or else he will stop being chairman of the party in a heartbeat. So anybody that can advise him had better advise him. And that's the way it happens everywhere in the world. Once you have a political party that is set up to be able to win elections, and there's somebody that has the highest executive position in that country, he automatically becomes the leader of the party. So I don't see anything. I don't see any bones raised by Adamu and his camp stopping anything that had been read out. And there was a lot of concession made, even with the minority parties. And you see that the position of the whip and the leader, the minority leader, was shared among the contending political parties, the Labour Party and the NNPP. So any bones raised, any front page we are seeing about a tussle and everything, I can almost predict that it is the camp of Akpabio that will hold sway in this. And if Adamu stretches this fight any further, we've seen how it's been done in political parties, he will be removed from that position. So I don't think there's anything to contest about. The Senate have announced it. Senate majority whip goes to Aliu Dume and the people. Yes, you would also say that a lot of people on the camp, those close to Atiku Abubakar, presidential candidate of the PDP, people like Tambawal that wanted to get the position, didn't get it. But it was just a case of better politics. And they outplayed them. Because even in the minority positions, the leading house in any parliament would still like to have a say. So that when they are going to pass laws, there's going to be a collaborative effort. So I wasn't surprised when the likes of Okpeyemi Bamidele emerged. You saw the role he played even in the emergence of the Senate president. And take it as the Tinubu camp. That's pure and simple. Any other attempt, any talk about it's a rumor, any talk that we're feeling disgruntled, the chairman of APC had better not start a fight he cannot conclude, or else it will consume him. And it has to be noted that once you have somebody with the highest executive power in a political party, he's automatically the leader of the party. I yield the floor, I rest my case.
Okay, a number of fallouts. One, when the National Assembly was going to appoint, the Senate President, Deputy Senate President, Speaker of the House of Reps, Deputy Speaker of the House of Reps, the major subject on the table then was a conflict between legislative independence and party supremacy. The National Working Committee of the APC had gone ahead at that time to issue a statement through its spokesperson, Felix Moka, right? To say that these are the persons that will emerge in these principal positions in the National Assembly. And we saw how that drama played out. The interest of the party prevailed, backed by the president, who did not come out expressly to say these are the people that he wanted at that time. But as it played out, you had Akpabio emerging as Senate President. You had Tajudi Abbas, emerging in the House of Representatives. But clearly, the soft text to all of that was that the party imposed itself. What we have seen in the emergence of the other principal officers in both chambers is that this time around, the message that is coming out is that the lawmakers chose those principal officers from among themselves. And so, the chairman of the APC would complain because this time around, the party was not in a position to dictate. So it's been reported as saying it's a rumor, but that the National Working Committee will still have interactions. On the contrary, there are also reports that, look, the process has the support of the Progressive Governors Forum, and APC governors also backed the process. So Adamu is on one side. There are other persons who supported the process. But for us, as onlookers, as observers of that process, I think many will be glad that Section 50, sub 1 and 2, has been allowed to have effect. Because Section 50, 1 and 2 does not talk about the party dictating the leadership of the National Assembly. And this point was reiterated by the Senate President, who said that the process was without rancor, and that it was the parties themselves, the members themselves, who chose and made recommendations, and that what he did as Senate President was to just announce. His point was further reiterated by Senator Okoyemi Bamidele, now Senate leader, Senator Okoyemi Bamidele representing Ekiti Central, who said all the 7 political parties decided, not that anybody dictated. And in any case, it would have been wrong to think that the APC could even be excluded from the emergence of the minority leadership of the Senate. Second point about this is that we're told that that caucus, that minority caucus within the National Assembly, decided to take a decision on its own. The gentleman that has now emerged as the Senate minority leader, his name was not even mentioned at all. The names that we used to hear, Jarigbe Agom, Adamu Aliero, Tambowal, and all that. But a certain caucus within the party said, Nwankwo has been chosen, because he's neutral, because he's not part of any group that is desperate to emerge as a Senate minority leader, and that he has been chosen because of his, of his neutrality in the matter, and that they will not allow either Waziri Atiku Abubakar or former Governor Nyesom Wike or anybody else to dictate to them. And you recall that many PDP members even opposed the emergence of Senator Aminu Tambuwal as Senate minority leader. That's another undercurrent there. Number 3, another undercurrent is that it will look like the PDP or the Akpabio caucus, if I may use that expression, if any such thing exists, has chosen to reward Bamidele Okoyemi, who was, a cheering leader for Godswill Akpabio, has also chosen to reward Ali Ndume, who was all over the place, saying, look, Akpabio must emerge as the Senate President. And you see a similar pattern in the House of Representatives. But all said and done, the National Assembly now has its principal officers. The third subtext is that the battle is now going to shift to chairmanship of committees, membership of committees. People will also be desperate. They'll be jostling, looking for where they can be. One of the most popular committees is the Committee on Appropriation, and then maybe Committee on Ports Authority, but for reasons best known to lawmakers. But this is where we are now. We hope that the National Assembly will do its house clearing business very quickly so that they can begin to focus on major issues of the day. And those major issues that this National Assembly has to worry about, are already emerging. They are already emergent. Only yesterday, the INEC chairman, Yakubu, was addressing resident electoral commissioners. And he was saying, look, there are things that need to be done. There are challenges that need to be addressed. One of those challenges will include a review of the Electoral Act 2022, in which there are still many omissions, as we have seen in the conduct of the 2023 general elections. 2, Electoral Offences Commission Bill, which has been in abeyance. That Electoral Offences Commission Bill needs to be passed expeditiously by the 10th National Assembly. The INEC chairman was still saying yesterday, more or less, the INEC is overburdened. INEC has 215 cases that have been forwarded to it, case files forwarded by the police. Now, those 215 cases, Section 145 of the Electoral Act 2022 says, at sub 2, says that INEC can prosecute. The same INEC that will conduct elections will be the same INEC that will prosecute electoral offenders, even when we have been told that there were originally 774 electoral offenders. So the police have concluded their own work of arrest and investigation. Now, if we have an Electoral Offences Commission, as recommended by the Waste Commission, INEC will not be overburdened because this is the point that INEC continues to make again and again. And there's a plethora of other issues that this National Assembly should focus upon, rather than opportunities in terms of appointment to committees, to positions, whether principal or procedural. The work needs to start, and we're hoping, as we have always said, that this will not be a rubber stamp assembly, that this will be an assembly that is committed to the making of laws for the good governance of Nigeria.
Absolutely. Now, I'd just like to center on, because a lot has already been said with regards to the emergence of the principal officers of the House, and we will have a guest in the course of the show to discuss this further. But one of the statements made by a senator who chose to remain anonymous in the This Day News, speaking to a This Day correspondent, our sister publication, was that the reason why they made their move was because they wanted to avoid the situation between the G5 governors and the presidential candidate of the PDP, Waziri Atiku Abubakar, and so they did not want interference in that instance. And that brings to mind just how much damage that fight or that contention has had to the PDP, and how strong the PDP is, because currently it looks like the PDP doesn't have a central voice in terms of a leader. So who is speaking? Who is speaking to the members in the House? As we have with the APC, was clear that the president, the leader of the APC, had consulted with the House and was quite instrumental to the emergence of the principal officers. But in the case of the PDP and other minority leaders, it looks as if, and I mean, like I mentioned, as if that the PDP has lost that power in terms of structure. And that's something to watch, because they have been in the minority, they are in the opposition for over 8 years now into the new administration. And it seems as if they've not been able to get their acts together or their house together since the G5 governor versus the presidential candidate debacle. So that's something to watch out for and see how that would play out in the House. In terms of the other principal officers, as has been mentioned, it does obviously look like some principal officers were rewarded. Take, for instance, Senator Dave Umahi, who is a first-time senator, even though he served as governor 2 times. But he's emerged as deputy majority leader. And we all know and saw the role he played during the elections, particularly his support for the president. Another contention, which some members had also highlighted, was that there were some misgivings around the fact that the president had an impact, not just in the emergence of the majority leader, but in the emergence of the minority leader, which they were quick to debunk. But that raises a question, because there have been talks about how much influence, how much power the president has, not only in the APC, but other members of the minority parties who are neither here nor there, and to see where their loyalties truly align with. At the end of the day, with the principal officers emerging, as has been said again, what Nigerians are looking forward to, and this is where we come in, because the people must always take center stage. Politics aside, we must always ensure that the interest of the people takes forefront, is the fact that hopefully we can begin to see some action. Politicking, at least majorly in terms of the emergence of principal officers, are over now. We had a lot of discussion weeks leading up to this, talking about who might not. We've seen some surprises here and there. It's now time to get to work. It's now time to roll up their sleeves and do what they were elected to do in the House.